You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. And of course, the Brian Craig Show podcast has been named the number 3 must listen to conservative podcast in America. Number 1 is Mark Levin, which should not even count because that's just his radio show uploaded on podcast platforms, okay? Glenn Beck's The Blaze is number 2, and then the Brian Craig Show podcast named the number 3 must listen to conservative podcast in America. And,
2 years running.
Yeah. And we are on all podcast platforms, including Spotify. And, of course, I upload this show on YouTube. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so Trump had a great rally, and Fox and Friends, Brian Kilmeade in particular, trashed Trump and the rally today. And I want to talk about that because, you know, that rally of President Trump's was absolutely amazing. And, you know, just to give you guys some context, a week ago today, we thought Trump was going to be indicted on these trumped-up charges in New York and arrested. And not only did he beat Bragg and Soros, not get charged, not get arrested, he won against all of them. And there was some news I was talking about this morning that Ron DeSantis' donors have dropped him. His top donors have dropped him. And there's a big update on that, which we'll get to in a little bit. I just say that to remind me, Kathy, on that update. There's a major update on Ron DeSantis' donors dropping him and telling him to not run for president. But I want to get to this thing with Kilmeade first, okay? Now, the rally in Waco, Texas, the way it began was so cool. It was one of the coolest beginnings of any Trump rally I've ever seen. It started while Trump Force One flew over and they were playing Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins, Top Gun, while Trump Force One was flying over and landing. And they had that performance artist painting that incredible portrait of Donald Trump, which was just super amazing. I mean, that was some of the best artwork I've ever seen done live like that. I've seen performance art before.
And you know, that's
was
hard
amazing
to do because, well, she's doing it live in a short time, and there's probably no reference photo. I didn't see her like looking at a reference photo.
Mm-mm.
And that canvas is huge. It's like a 30 by 40 inch canvas, which is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And she's up close to that. She couldn't like step back and because a painting like that, you kind of have to step back and look at it a little bit further away to make sure your proportions and all that are right.
Yeah.
She really didn't do that. She was super close to that canvas. And that's a talented lady. That was really amazing. And she did that like in 20 minutes. It was incredible.
The paintbrushes she uses are the ones that like we use when we paint the house.
Yeah, they're bigger paintbrushes.
They were massive paintbrushes. Yeah. And when we paint the inside of the house, I get paint all over the ceiling and everything.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that.
You know, and I've been putting off painting the outside of the house for 2 years because first off, I hate painting.
That's true.
And I'm awful at it. But
I don't think you're that bad.
Yeah, I'm not that good at it. But anyway, she was amazing, and that portrait was amazing. So that was.
I guess I'll hire her to paint the house.
Maybe, yeah, she could paint Trump portraits all around it, around the whole house. That'd be amazing. The neighbors would love it.
Oh yeah.
But when she did that was really amazing, and they played that super cool music, and then she was really under a time crunch because she had to time it to make sure she was done before Trump came up on the stage. So then Trump Force One pulls up, Trump comes up, and what he did was just amazing. I couldn't figure out what he was doing, okay? So he comes out on stage, Trump, and then he goes and stands to the right of the podium. And I went, what is going on? And then they had that big announcement, the number 1 song on iTunes, Donald J. Trump and the J6 Choir, and they played that with the January 6 prisoners. And, of course, President Trump had his hand on his heart, as did the spectators. Mm-hmm. And Brian Kilmeade was totally flipped out over that. Let me read this article, and then I'll play the audio, okay? And Brian Kilmeade on Fox and Friends. This is in the New York Post I'm reading from. This is being widely reported. I like though, how they started this in the New York Post. That's why I'm sharing this one. a co-host of President Donald Trump's one-time favorite cable news program, because it's on Fox, it's not his favorite anymore, turned on the 76-year-old Monday. And let me say this. Donald Trump is the youngest looking 76-year-old man I've ever seen in my life.
He looks good. He's aging backwards. He's thinner. He's got a natural tan now. So
he looks younger than me.
That tanning stuff. He looks really good. And did he not wear a tie?
No tie.
So he was kind of casual. That's Trump's casual, is no tie. He's still got the suit on, but the no tie is his casual look.
The only thing he wears other than suits are his golf clothes when he's golfing. I'm surprised he doesn't golf in the suit. Anyway, a co-host of Donald Trump's one-time favorite cable news program turned on the 76-year-old Monday, calling his celebration of the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot during a weekend campaign rally absolutely awful and insane. He was not celebrating the Capitol breach.
He was honoring those people that are in jail that have not had a trial and that are just sitting there rotting.
They're political prisoners.
They're political prisoners, and he's highlighting that.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know why Brian Kilmeade said it was insane when this is the -- song on iTunes. So clearly, most of the country thinks it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't be buying the song.
Yeah. So let me play this. He went on talking about a bunch of other things that Trump should have done. I love how Brian Kilmeade he knows everything Trump should do. I love
liked that guy.
I love people. It drives me nuts that know what everybody else should be doing.
Yeah, I know.
They just know what everyone should be doing all the time.
That's one of the words I hate in this world is should.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Should be eliminated from the vocabulary.
Yeah,
of people.
it's annoying to me. But anyway,
you should this, you should that. It's really aggravating.
This was at the end of it, and I just clipped off the end of it. This is Kilmeade on Fox, formerly friends with Trump, this morning.
I don't think they were ever friends.
President of the United States, former President of the United States, opened up with January 6th video, which is insane. He should be running from that, period. I don't care his point of view. That is not a good thing for him. I thought that was absolutely awful. Even though he is winning in the polls, that will not help.
Okay. So,
God.
So, okay, I know he's flipping out.
These people hear themselves.
Okay.
Although he's winning in the polls.
This is...
What a jerk.
A couple things about this. First, if he's got the #1 song in America on iTunes and he's winning in the polls, I think Trump, whatever he's doing, is working.
I agree.
And if he starts doing what Brian Kilmeade thinks he should do, then, maybe,
run and hide?
Maybe he won't have the #1 song on iTunes or be as popular. He's as popular, and he is the first president ever of the United States to have the #1 song in America. And that in itself is a poll, okay? And I've been talking about that all day. And
I think he's the first president just to have a song, period.
Well, now,
have there been
Obama, a song, yeah, but Obama won a Grammy for his book on tape, and I think they gave Hillary a Grammy for her tape.
Those aren't songs. Obama did have that song that the kids sang, Obama's gonna... Remember that creepy song?
Yeah, from Mao.
The Obama's going to make it? Or does that count?
No. But he's the first president to have a song.
Yeah.
And certainly the first president and the only president probably ever who will have the #1 song in America. And I know a lot of people are tired of me talking about the song because I've been talking about it for 2 days.
A little.
But that is the most amazing poll ever. So anyway, Brian Kilmeade, he's not celebrating the Capitol breach. What he is talking about, Donald Trump, in that song is this group, the exact number, I can't get the exact number on how many of them have not been tried yet, that are awaiting trial, because there's a lot of different reports. But in America, we have a constitutional guarantee to a fair and speedy trial. And these guys are political prisoners being held, many of them without trial. There's been all kinds of terrible stories of them being harassed by guards, not being allowed to have private meetings with their attorneys. Yeah. And they can't even get decent attorneys. I've seen a lot of their attorneys for the J6 prisoners on television, and they're all nice guys, but they're not these top-tier attorneys you would normally have in that situation. You can tell by their suits. They buy their suits like I do at Men's Warehouse or something. They're not the tailored suits with those types of top-tier lawyers you normally get. I get my suit tailored. I buy it off the rack at Men's Warehouse, and they measure me, and they sew hem it or something. That's how they get their suits. Nothing wrong with that. I like my suits that I get from there, But when you are in prison like they are, you would normally get the top tier attorneys with the tailor-made suits, okay? So they can't even – and the reason they can't get those top tier attorneys is because if those top tier attorneys represent them, they'll lose all their Washington clients in the future. So they're
Absolutely. They'll be like blackballed.
Yeah. So the defendants, many of them are being held without trial. Their constitutional rights have been violated. They don't have access to top attorneys, and even the lowbrow, ticket lawyer type lawyers they get, they don't even get proper private meetings with them and all these other things. What President Trump is talking about is we've got a group of Americans, and in America, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, that are presumed innocent, that are being held in bizarre ways. Their constitutional rights have been violated, and this is an injustice. Now, if they go to trial and are convicted in a trial or anything, that's a different thing.
I mean, notice they haven't been let out on bail.
No, some of them have
so
gone.
They can hold them there as long as they want.
Some of them have gone through processes. Some of them have not. And that's what that was about. And Kilmeade, I don't think he's the sharpest pencil in the bunch, but he should know that.
Well, he's just out of touch. I mean, he's just out of touch with America and the Trump voter, and the fact that this is a song featuring the January 6th prisoners
and Donald Trump,
and that it's number one. Tells you what's really going on in the country. So it is a good idea for Trump to highlight that and not run away from it. Trump always gives the people what they want because he's in touch with the people. I mean, his thinking is, wow, this is the number one song. We should do something with this. I mean, everybody's buying this song. We should play it. We should have a thing.
Well, and he's on
Brian
it.
Kilmeade's idea, oh, no, sir, you got to run away from this. Really? We've got the number one song. You want to run away from that? I mean, what a stupid – obviously, he's not a businessman, so he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
If Brian Kilmeade had the number one song, they would be playing it in and out of every commercial break on Fox and Friends, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So give me a break. Yeah. Okay, so there's a major update on Ron DeSantis, okay? Now, I was talking this morning – that this was amazing. Okay. And I do believe that listeners of ours on this program and on the radio show are in large part responsible for what I was talking about this morning.
I agree.
But this isn't the update. But I want to recap what I was talking about this morning, and then there's a desperate update from the DeSantis camp, okay?
Oh, boy.
So a story leaked out in Palm Beach, Florida yesterday, Sunday, the morning after the Trump rally. There was a meeting of the top DeSantis donors, a private meeting, and information about their meeting leaked out to the press. And the top donors in Palm Beach, these are the top donors to DeSantis's presidential campaign, are asking him not to run. They're saying that he can't beat Trump and it's not his time. And when these top donors who fund the whole campaign, when they ask you, they're really telling you, okay? They're telling you, but they're trying to be nice. So if the top donors drop out, there's no campaign. So the campaign, as of now, is over before it's begun.
Plus, I've said this before, I believe his donations from the people have died down too a little bit since all this started. I'm sure it has.
And I think that this happened for a variety of reasons, okay? Mm-hmm. One, of course, are the polls. Donald Trump has a double-digit lead in all the polls. Two, and the rally when Trump was talking about DeSantis, the reaction of the rally goers. But I think, this happened in Palm Beach, and, I broadcast in Palm Beach. The radio station I'm on in the morning is located in Palm Beach, and our coverage area is Palm Beach, Broward, and the Treasure Coast. And they listen to us at Mar-a-Lago, and they listen to us. These political donors listen to us. Where the Steve Kane show that I co-host with Steve Kane is the political show of record in Florida, in particular in Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade. Mm-hmm. And these people listen to it, okay?
I think so.
And
I mean, I know so.
Yeah, and this last week, I should say, I was talking about all these things with DeSantis. It started with the book, but when he said he wouldn't help Trump if he got arrested, I talked about it pretty much every day last week on the radio. And a lot of people, and I really mean a lot of people, okay, got in touch with me, sometimes off the air, and said, hey, you know what, you shouldn't be bashing DeSantis, you shouldn't be doing. And what I did a lot this week was when I would have callers call, in particular the Florida callers, but I would ask them, would you vote for Ron DeSantis? And they all said, never again. I cannot trust him. I will never vote for him. He's unelectable. And I did that all week asking callers this. And I think these rich Palm Beach donors heard a lot of that. And
so what's the big update?
And I'm getting to that. And that's why they dropped their support of Ron DeSantis and are telling him not to run, that he's damaging himself beyond repair. Okay, so here's the major desperate update. And I've gone through 6 or 7 stories about this. I'm sure you've seen the story. There's a new poll in Iowa that has DeSantis up 15 points over Trump. Okay. It's in Axios and it's in many other places. What I can't find is the methodology and breakdown on the poll. Yeah. Okay. I've gone through, 6, 7 stories at least on the poll. Now, by the time you're listening to this, there may be some updates with it in there, but I'm just telling you, as of this broadcast right now, as I'm talking to you, I've gone through a half dozen at least, probably more stories on it in the last hour, and I cannot find a breakdown of the poll. And and anytime I go over a poll, I always look to see who they poll, how many, who, what's their background, everything, and that's not available on this. So,
what is the McLaughlin poll good?
They're most of them are good. That's one that has Trump ahead. McLaughlin poll, Trump's ahead in that one.
Yeah, but there's a new one that just came out with him.
But this poll with DeSantis 15 points ahead, I can't find the breakdown of the poll. I can only find stories telling you he's 15 points ahead. So the reason I say this is a major update, the top donors have dropped DeSantis. So the Bush family and Paul Ryan, they don't want this to happen. So they got this fake story going on that they got this, and Iowa's important because they have that Iowa caucus. They always make a big deal about the Iowa caucus. So they have this story out everywhere that Paul Ryan and the Bushes have gotten out that he's 15 points ahead of Trump in Iowa, but they don't give us the poll to look at so we can see who they polled, how many people they polled, when they polled them, or any of that. It's a fake news story in a desperate attempt by Paul Ryan and Jeb and all of them to try to get the donors to come back on board with DeSantis. I don't think it's happening.
No.
And DeSantis, it's just not going to happen. Now, I'm not going to continue to go after DeSantis until there is new news from DeSantis, like he does something else, okay? Yeah. And I was explaining this to people this morning, what I mean by this, okay? And I know this sounds bizarre, but this is kind of like psychops we're doing here. This is psychops. Ron DeSantis has had a perfect life. Anything he's wanted, he's gotten.
Seems so.
I mean, he's never even had a girl break up with them, okay? Everything he's wanted, he's gotten. No, this guy's gotten everything he's wanted. From the time he was in the Little League World Series, and this is the first time when these donors, these top donors, dropped him and told him not to run yesterday, is the first time in the life of Ron DeSantis that he's ever heard no or been rejected. He came close to it in the primary running for governor. That's why he was crying like a girl to Trump. Trump was talking about it in the rally the other night. But he got it. He got Trump to do it, and he got it. So for DeSantis to come out and say he's not running is not an easy thing for a guy who's always gotten what he wanted, okay?
Well, so if it's going to be hard for him to do that, especially since there's been so much hype.
Yeah, so if
it's going to be hard for him. So, he's kind of in a bad position, really.
So if we just randomly attack him, now, of course, if he does something else or says something else, we're going to talk about it and go after him. But if he hears us constantly doing that, he's going to dig in. And I know a lot of you will say, well, we don't need DeSantis. Well, we don't need DeSantis, but it would be nice to stop this infighting in the MAGA movement because, this election, this is Trump's last rodeo, okay? He's not a young man. This is his last opportunity. And you guys know when you see that rally, okay, he is the only man in the world who can stop what these evil doers are doing, okay?
I'd say
nobody else could stop all these things they're doing.
Honestly, he's the only man that's incorruptible.
That's for sure.
And I'm not saying DeSantis is corrupt, but it's possible he's corruptible.
I don't know. he sold out and betrayed Trump quick.
I mean, so to me, he's the only guy who can't be corrupted.
But the things that Trump needs
by the deep state,
the things we need Trump to fix, only Trump can do it. No one else can.
Yeah.
So we've got the entire future of our country and our lives and our civilization on the line here. And we need to have MAGA united. And I know that DeSantis is not MAGA, but he does have some supporters, okay? And every endorsement we can get, we want, okay? So we want DeSantis to stop trashing Trump. We want it's only a matter of time before it is accepted that nobody can beat him, and the only people running against him are going to be a bunch of pathetic losers like Pence and Nikki Haley. Okay?
Yeah, they don't have a chance in hell.
No, we don't want to do infighting among the Republicans if we don't have to. We want to expose the Democrats for what they're doing. Now, I got to tell everyone about Mike Lindell and the MyPillow 2.0, which is the hottest selling MyPillow product in years. And, it's a great deal because it has the cooling technology, which keeps your head and face from getting hot, from getting warm. And here we are moving into the warm weather. It was like 88, 89 degrees yesterday here in Florida.
Oh, yeah, this is a must-have pillow.
Yeah.
For sure.
And even those of you that are in the colder parts of the country, summertime's coming for you. And this is definitely, this MyPillow 2.0 with the cooling technology is what you want as the hot time of year is already here. Here at home, Kathy and I, we have our blinds shut to block out the sun.
It's like 89 right now.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, and our thermostat, we have it down there, but our air conditioner has been running all day. I mean, it rarely stops. And at night, having a cool pillow on your head, on your face,
makes a difference.
Is perfect. The MyPillow 2.0 right now is buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, you can take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, not just the ones we talk about, okay? But it's a great way for you to support the program. You're supporting all the content I bring you, the podcast here with Kathy, my YouTube channel, the radio show with Steve Kane, and of course, you're supporting the great Mike Lindell and everything he's doing. He was wonderful at the rally, by the way, Saturday night. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and order your MyPillow 2.0. Buy one, get one free. The MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
Discover the stages of love and the stories we've attached to them and heal yourself through the power of journaling. For the Love of Yourself Journal, 7 relationship stages to growth, forgiving, healing, and renewal. A guided journal from author Tanisha Yates. We all experience relationships of all kinds, and each experience contributes to our growth. In this journal, you will learn to forgive yourself and face your fears, reclaiming your power and unlocking your love. It's time to start your healing process and journal your way to emotional freedom so you can find love to live for. From author Tanisha Yates, for the Love of Yourself Journal, 7 relationship stages to growth, forgiving, healing, and renewal. Order your copy on Amazon right now. Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now. In the heart of the wilderness, one young man is about to embark on a journey of self-discovery. From D. Gee Productions comes The Watcher on the Mountain, a captivating 112-page book available now on Amazon. Follow the story of a young man raised deep in the forest of America, struggling to find his place in the world after a tragic discovery. When his mysterious father is suddenly ripped away from him, he must confront his own mortality and face the haunting secrets of his father's past. Will the young man find find his purpose and meaning in life, or will his journey end in tragedy? Don't miss this tale of self-discovery and mystery. Order your copy of The Watcher on the Mountain from D. Gee Productions on Amazon right now and start your journey.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Well, sadly, we've had another tragedy, another school shooting. This was a female shooter.
This was a private school.
Mm-hmm. Let me read through some of this. We'll talk about it. 6, including 3 children, are dead after a white female shooter opened fire at a private school in Nashville. I don't know the significance of her being white, but apparently in the papers I think it's, anyway. The incident took place
because they want everybody to think that all white people are dangerous.
I guess
that's
so.
why.
I guess so. The incident took place at the Covenant School, an elementary school on the outskirts of Nashville. Police say the shooter, who has not yet been named, but may by the time you're listening to this, killed 3 kids and 3 adults before being shot dead by police. Her identity, as of this moment, has not yet been confirmed. But again, as you're listening to this program later, it probably will
At least
be.
They worked faster than Uvalde. They just sat there and let him kill like 20 people.
Police said initially they believe she was a teenager. It's unclear what her motive was, but police believe she attended the school at some point. The police confirmed she was a local 28-year-old. The small school is run by a church and does not employ a school resource officer. Shortly before 10:13 a.m., the woman entered the school through a side door, began opening fire on the second floor. It's unclear how she gained access to the building. Police say all doors were locked. Police arrived, heard gunshots. By 10:27, she had been shot dead. So this is 12 minutes later after it, that was some quick action. Parents have been told to collect their children. And
they've got to do more to protect these kids. They're just not doing anything to protect these kids. They're sitting ducks. I mean, this is the world we're in. It's a thing now.
Every one of these incidents is different, okay? Different things happen. But, if you had the schools in a situation where they couldn't get there, that, shooters couldn't get in, you know what I mean? Like if they had police and guard posts and there was no way to get in except through these checkpoints and everything, they would just go to the local McDonald's where the kids hang out after school and have these things. You know what I mean? These lunatics are going to do what they do. They'll just go to a different location. They
won't go. They're worried about McDonald's because there might be somebody there with a gun, an adult. They know that schools have no guns unless there's a cop there. And there were cops at Parkland, and he did nothing.
Well, if you look, there have been
public place. You risk somebody with a concealed weapon or something. A school, it's soft. They have no guns there.
In Florida, the shooting in Orlando where the guy. Mateen, I believe was his name, shot up the gay nightclub, the Pulse nightclub. His original target was Walt Disney World. He went to Walt Disney World, and there were cops there. Okay, so he didn't go there. He was going to so he went to the gay nightclub because there was no one there to shoot back.
No.
Okay, and that one kid that shot up the church years ago was going to shoot up a local college. He went to the college. There were armed guards there, so he went to the church and shot people there. So these lunatic shooters will always find a place to go and shoot people.
They still need to protect the schools. We pay our taxes. Well, this is a private school. The schools are targets, and I just could not imagine being in school right now as a kid, being a young kid and living with this. We didn't know, Klebold and Harris happened in the 90s. That was after you and I graduated. We didn't even think of stuff like this ever happening when we were little.
Kathy,
and we were in school. It's crazy.
You and I went to school in the same city, but different schools on different sides of the tracks, okay?
Yeah, but there were no school shooters.
Yes, we had school shootings. There was
not at my school.
When I was in high school.
I don't remember.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I went to a really bad school, okay? And it was a very dangerous school. There were a lot of gang members, and
my school was not like that.
There were a lot of drug dealers. This was at the height of the crack cocaine epidemic. There were a lot of drug dealers that went to the school. They were in my classes, and they were in school because if they didn't go to school, they'd get locked up. And some of these kids, I mean, they were like 14, 15, 16, 17. They had wads and wads of $100 bills in their pockets and everything else. But most of them are probably dead or in jail now. But one guy, he brought a gun to school and shot himself in the hand with it. So there were some incidents like that. There was a stabbing.
There was nothing where somebody came to there was nothing where somebody came to a school and just popped off kids like they were at a shooting range. I mean, that just did not happen, Brian, until after Klebold and Harris. They started that trend. And now you have a lot of issues with mental illness and kids that are on video games and social media. They don't have social skills. They don't interact. You have broken homes where nobody's disciplining them. I mean, look at this kid in Parkland. Nobody disciplined this kid.
No.
He just had free reign.
We had no parents.
The school didn't do anything either. The cops went to his house dozens of times. They didn't do anything either. Nobody wants to discipline these kids. When I was teaching, there was the same problem. The kids ruled the school. They were afraid to discipline them. They were afraid of getting sued. I mean, the administrator told me that we're afraid of getting sued by the parents. Yeah. So we let them get away with a lot more than we should. That's the way it is. And until they do something to protect these kids from these lunatics, I don't see them making any changes to any of these schools.
You know, the reason all this is happening is many. You know, and I know people say all these generic things, the breakdown of the family and all that stuff.
Like I just said?
You know, yeah, people say that all the time. People say that for years, and that is true. But I think the biggest problem is, and I know this sounds so ridiculous and stupid, but I think the biggest problem, you mentioned it, are the first-person shooter video games. And
huge problem.
And what happens a lot of times is the kids that are involved in these things, they play these games hours a day, every day, for years and years and years, and they really lose touch with reality. And
we never let our daughter play. And Emily's big into video games.
Not those games.
And we never let her play those, buy those, and we would, after an hour or two of playing, we'd be like, all right, you got to stop. Let's go do something. You know, a lot of parents are just not engaged. A lot are, but there are a lot of parents, they'll just let their kid play video games 8-10 hours a day because they get them out of their hair.
Yeah.
And they don't even think about it. Because like I said, the breakdown of the family, you have single parents that have to work all the time. They're never home. Brian and I had that issue growing up. We were latchkey kids and our mothers were working all the time.
Yeah, but we didn't shoot people.
No, we didn't. And we didn't have those kind of video games. I mean, it's a real problem. Video games are a big problem. I don't care.
I think the two things that young people have that I think are doing this are connected: video games and the online pornography. And
they're both bad.
You know what's happened is these young guys, come on, they're playing the video games all day and they're watching the porn all day online. And the younger people today don't have a lot of human interaction. They don't talk to one another.
They're always in their phone.
They don't talk on the phone. They text or send messages on different apps. So they don't have a human connection with people that people used to have because they're into porn and video games, and they don't have conversations with people. They're chatting with people on their phones.
We have a generation of sociopaths.
Yeah.
Basically. So they have no empathy for other people.
No, because they have no interaction with other people.
Right.
That's why customer service jobs, right? Any place that's a customer service job that deals with the public, food service, retail, they're always hiring. They can't find workers because the younger people are the ones who take those kinds of jobs and they can't interact with customers.
It's so funny. Somebody put on Instagram or something, went viral. This woman was at Taco Bell and she wanted extra cheese on her taco. And she was like my age, middle age. You know, they call him a Karen. And the kid that worked there, he was like 18, would refuse to put extra cheese on her taco. And she's like, I'll even pay for it. He was so rude to her, and they got in a big fight. And she, unfortunately, lost her cool and started screaming, yelling. But it was funny to read the comments. Because of all the young people that left comments, you can tell they're like, what a Karen and this and that. And then the older people were like, customer service is dead.
It is.
These young people have no respect. When I was younger, I worked in retail. I worked at the mall and clothing and stuff like that. We were told the customer is always right no matter what. They can scream and yell at you. You give them whatever they want. Even if somebody came in, I was told, I worked at Bernines, which was a big department store down here. I worked at the men's department. And they told me, if somebody comes in returning something and you know it's stolen, give them a credit anyway, because it's just easier to do that instead of making a scene and all. I mean, it was crazy. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah,
now the kids that work there, they're in charge, and the customer is the jerk.
And they have no empathy for others because they have no human contact. So now, sadly, it's up to 7 that have died at the school. And the 28-year-old Nashville woman was strapped with 2 assault rifles.
Oh, my goodness.
And a handgun.
Now just wait for the liberals to come out, and we got to stop this, and the guns. That is not the problem. You've seen people take their car and drive it into a crowd of people. You've seen people take a knife and go, and what about the guy that drove through that parade and killed people? It's not the weapon that's the problem. It's the people that are the problem. The people that are committing these crimes. There's a problem here, and nobody wants to deal with it. Or address it. You know, they just don't.
And so Biden came out. He says we have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart.
As if on cue.
Yeah, it's ripping at the soul of our nation. You know, the thing about it is there's never going to be gun control in this country, okay? This is a gun culture. The country was founded on a revolution.
Yep.
And what we have learned in this country, growing up, they don't teach us so much anymore. But the original soldiers in George Washington's army had their own guns that they brought from home.
That's right.
And during the days of the Ku Klux Klan in the South, terrorizing African Americans, you'll hear Condoleezza Rice has talked about this a lot, but African Americans defended their families against the Klan in the South during the Jim Crow era with their guns at home. And this is a gun culture. Talking about gun control, obviously I don't support gun control. Kathy and I own guns, and I've owned guns since I was a kid. My father and grandfather gave me guns when I was 12, and I went hunting. And I don't hunt now, but I hunted as a kid. I wouldn't hunt today. I'm not into hunting, you know. But it's a gun culture, and that's just a cop-out to say gun control. There's a lot of other things that need to be done.
They need to I know this is a private school, but most of these shootings are public. They need to fortify the schools, put some money into these schools, and make them safer. But instead of actually doing something, because they don't know how to do anything, they don't know how to fix any problem. Instead of fixing that problem and keeping the kids safe, they just go on TV and scream and yell, and we got to end. We got to get rid of the guns. Well, they know that's never going to happen.
There was a story on Fox, and they put a graphic up about values in the country.
Yes,
comparing 1998 to today. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think Columbine was in '99. So that so this is from '98 and as it is today, and compared to 2023. And they had a graphic up on the screen, so I took a picture of our TV so I could share it with you. Very important values is the question. In 1998...
This is 25 years, a whole generation.
Yeah.
This is a whole generation now.
Very important values. In 1998, 70% of those polled said patriotism is a very important value. Today, in 2023, only 38%, so it's dropped in half. Religion... in 1998 was said by 62% to be a very important value. Today it's just 39%.
That is really sad.
Having children.
Everything's like in half.
Having children in 98, 59% said that was important. 2023, only 30%. So that's also, and this is the thing about millennials and Generation Z. They are children. And they don't have kids because they act like children, and it would interfere with their childlike adulthood. And that's a sad thing.
They're a narcissistic, materialistic generation, both of them.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping the tide will turn on that. But
well, then there was one more question. Community involvement in 98, 47% said it was important. Today, only 27%. And
everything's like almost cut back in half.
The problem is, there's a lot of talk about different types of education going on in school. Mm-hmm. But what's missing from school is civics and social studies. And also, history in the last 25 years has been completely turned in. Everything about American history and American civics and social studies is a negative now, right? As opposed to positives. And, every country has things that have happened that are negative. But, I have a degree in history. And what I always enjoyed about history is when you study history, it's interesting to study because you find out why the things are the way they are today. One thing happens, another thing happens, and another thing happens, and here you are today. And in the last 25 years, there's been this whole turn on history, not just in school. You look at history specials on television. You go to
the tone has changed.
If you can find a bookstore, the same thing. Go to it's all in negative as opposed to a positive. So what you have is really it's a couple generations in 25 years because some were growing up and some have been born since, so a couple generations go together. They've been brought up to think everything about America and Americanism is evil, is bad, is awful, as opposed to being positive.
It shows
and that's why there's a lot of this going on.
Yes, and it shows you that the liberals and China, they work together, have successfully, as of now, are successfully destroying our core values as a nation. And I'm sure most of the people in this poll are younger people. I can't imagine people our age or older feel this way. You never know. There's a lot of hippies that are around there that hate America too. It's really sad when I saw that, especially the religion thing. And, I see these parents on social media, a lot of them, and they're more into it than their kids. And I think social media has had a lot to do with this, to changing values. Kids are more interested in likes and retweets and followers than they are about books and going to church. Mm-hmm. And also the parents have become very lax. And I blame our generation for this because these kids are products of us. Mm-hmm. The millennials and the Gen Z are products of Generation X, and we really dropped the ball. Helicopter parenting, everybody gets a trophy, and I don't know why that happened, but Brian and I are guilty of that too sometimes with Emily. We would sometimes be a little soft on her, and our parents would scratch their heads because our parents were very into tough love. And maybe that's why. And, but Emily's a good kid, thank God. And we would definitely sit down and Brian and I the family stayed together and we would talk to her about these things and made sure she had the right values. A lot of parents don't do that anymore. They're too concerned with TikTok and Instagram.
Well, what happens in school today with...
You're right about the education, for sure.
With education involving America, what they've done now is they'll look at the way things were in the 50s and make the kids think it's that way today. Let me get an example.
Well, Brian, they're too busy teaching them about genders and
that's right,
and things and social justice. They don't teach them civics or how the government works.
Let me give an example, okay? Like we just had spring break here in Florida, and Fort Lauderdale Beach is by our house, and Kathy and I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, and that's a big spring break place, right? Mm-hmm. The part of the beach where everyone goes to spring break on Fort Lauderdale Beach is an area. It's on Las Olas and A1A on Fort Lauderdale Beach.
By the Elbow Room.
Yeah. And that beach, before we lived here, before we were alive, and I didn't live here then. I came to Florida in the 80s, but when I was a kid. But that beach was a segregated beach. Mm-hmm. And blacks were not allowed to go to that beach. There's another beach where blacks were allowed to go, which is the worst beach in all of Florida. I mean, I know where that beach is today. It's an awful beach. It's way out in the middle of nowhere, and it's not even have hardly sand in it. But that beach where all the spring breakers went, there, when you go to the beach, there's a plaque on the wall, and it's a pretty big plaque. And during the Martin Luther King era, the NAACP, they staged a series. They called them wade-ins, like you're wading in the water, WADE, wade-ins. They went to the whites-only beach and said, we're going. And they went, and they got arrested, and they went back, and they went in the beach. And the idea that this beach was ever segregated, people don't even realize that today here. But what happens a lot in the education system in college and in high school, they teach kids that the way it was back then in the 50s and in the 60s, where they had segregated beaches, that it's still that way today. So people get angry at the country, and if people hate the country, their opinions, like I went through on that poll, are very low. And that's another reason why you have a lot of these terrible incidents like the school shooting that happened today, because kids are taught to be angry.
Yeah, there's definitely an anger.
The education
problem
is taught in a very negative way.
Well, Brian,
everything is spun in a negative way.
Right.
So the kids are angry and always in a negative mind.
There's an anger problem. There's a lack of discipline, not only in the schools, but at home. Parents are afraid a lot of times to discipline their children. There's a lot of there's so many problems. There's a lot of distractions. A lack of time spent with your kids. I'm not saying this is everybody, but it's obviously a problem. There's mental health issues not being addressed. The guns are not the problem here. They're just the means to an end for these people.
Yeah.
Believe me, they would find another way if they had to. There's so many other issues, and I've said this before. I think, and I'm not against women's rights, but I think the women's movement just did so much destruction to this country with women and the easy divorces and people, the breakdown of the family has just destroyed this country.
The reason that we have these terrible incidents is...
And these girls having 5 babies like Nick Cannon with all these guys. Yeah. I mean, there's no... These people have no responsibility anymore.
These incidents, I mean, there's 100 reasons or more why they happen. But here's the thing. You're always going to have lunatics who do crazy things.
Yes.
And there's nothing you're going to do that's going to stop these lunatics. And, talking about gun control is a waste of breath because of the culture of the country. It is never going to happen. And
that's not the solution.
If it was known how many guns there are in America, I think even the top NRA people would be frightened. Guns... two. I have 2 rifles that were my grandfather's. They're 101 years old. They look brand new. Okay, they're 101 years old.
They last a long time.
Guns last. I would say there's probably 1 billion or more guns in the United States.
And kind of ironically,
right? Because they last forever.
Whenever there's a school shooting, the sales of guns go up because all the politicians come out and talk about banning guns, taking guns away. And that's when people go out and buy guns, and they're like, "Well, I better go buy some guns because they scare people, and they go out and buy more." And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying you're right. There's so many.
Talking about gun control causes people to buy more guns.
It does. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
for sure.
like I remember Clinton had an assault weapons ban which expired. It was only for a limited time, and I remember guys going out to the gun shows and everything in Florida, buying up AK-47s because they knew they weren't going to be able to buy them. Right? They weren't going to be imported for years, and they just bought them all up. They all sold out,
and they last forever.
And
like you said,
and that's what people do. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Say goodbye to living paycheck to paycheck and hello to financial freedom with Date Your Money from author Larry Thomas. This short ebook about money management is perfect for beginners of all ages. Date Your Money helps you tap into emotions you already have to create a positive relationship with your finances. By discovering the well-defined reasons behind wanting a better financial future, you'll learn how to budget effectively and become debt-free. With Date Your Money, you'll gain the tools and knowledge to make sound financial financial decisions and achieve your goals. So what are you waiting for? Get your copy of Date Your Money from author Larry Thomas on Apple Books, Kobo, or Smashwords and start taking control of your finances. You deserve to live a stress-free life, and Date Your Money can help make that a reality. Are you a truck or car enthusiast looking to upgrade your ride? Look no further than GroundZeroCustoms.com. GroundZeroCustoms.com is an online store specializing in aftermarket performance and appearance upgrades. They have a vast inventory of high-quality parts and accessories, and they have everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. GroundZeroCustoms.com offer the best brands in the business, including Baja Designs, Mickey Thompson Tires, 4Play, and that's just the beginning. Whether you're looking for lighting upgrades or suspension modifications, they have you covered. Plus, GroundZeroCustoms.com understand that each vehicle is unique, which is why they offer a wide range of specialized parts and accessories. Upgrade your ride and make it truly your own. Go to GroundZeroCustoms.com and discover the possibilities. You will find an unbeatable selection and everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. Start shopping right now at GroundZeroCustoms.com. Do you feel like you lack energy? Do you feel disconnected from your body? Learn how to connect with the power of your body in a whole new way. From author, therapist, and health coach Rita Tavares comes the book, Awaken to Your Energy Body. Tap into your inner wisdom to create better health. This must-read and life-changing book will empower you to take care of your physical, emotional, and spiritual health by understanding your body on a deeper level. By awakening your energy body, you will create the life of abundance and joy you've always dreamed of. You deserve to live the best version of yourself. Go beyond the guides that only focus on being happy and plentiful. Dive deeper and learn how to shine your brighter self. The time to start your transformation journey is now. Don't wait. Order your copy of Awaken to Your Energy Body. Tap into your inner wisdom and create better health. From author Rita Tavares on Amazon right now. Available in Kindle and paperback. Before you can lead others effectively, you must first lead yourself. Learn how to successfully guide yourself towards your vision and goals so you can do the same for your team. Author Bobby Harrington shows you how self-leadership can transform you into the leader you aspire to be. In the book, Lead You, the winning combination to achieve personal and professional success. Bobby Harrington's Lead Yourself First method provides a self-leadership framework that teaches you how to utilize the basic tenets of leadership, execute tasks with passion and discipline while committing to continuous improvement. Once you embrace self-leadership, you become more productive, constructive, and promotable. Lead You is a must-read and easy-to-follow guide for transforming yourself into the capable leader you're meant to be. Start your journey to success and grab your copy of Lead You, the winning combination to achieve personal and professional success from author Bobby Harrington. Available online at TheRubiconCoa.com. That's TheRubiconCoa.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. You know, the ladies on The View, they can't go 2 days without saying something stupid. And I know
can't go one day. Let's be honest here.
A lot of people say there's, you know, that old Andy Warhol. I think it was Andy Warhol. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Really, go talk to O.J. Simpson about that. Okay, go talk to George Zimmerman about that. That is that is a myth. Okay, there is such a thing. Go talk to lots of people. Right, Robert Blake, you know, who just died. Right, he got some publicity. Couldn't get a job after that. Okay, Roman Polanski's been hiding out in France for 40, 50 years, okay? So there's a story at a school, which we'll talk about in a minute. A principal was fired for having the David on display, and which is a nude statue. And the ladies of The View were talking about it. Listen to this. This is just
can't wait to hear this.
To figure it out.
Can't you have that conversation without the full frontal?
It's literally the sculpture of David. Like, we all born naked. Like, I walk around. I put my lotions on. My kids have seen my kids bathe together.
Your kids have seen your tata?
Absolutely. They ask if there's milk in there. Like, I literally I don't walk around.
I don't understand how the hell a conversation about banning David has turned into tatas and milk.
Okay. So she walks around naked and topless, in particular in front of her children. They ask if there's milk in there.
How old are her kids?
I think if they're asking that question, they're too old for her to be walking around like
She's
that.
She's going to regret revealing that little tidbit.
Yeah, and that is not one of the more famous women on The View. That's Sarah Haynes.
I know who she is.
I know who she is too, but she's not as famous as some of the others. I mean, she walks around. That's. But
what did they
freaky.
say about David?
I'll just read the story.
Okay. Curious what they said about David.
Let's see here. Let me find the story.
I mean, I have something to play on that just happened with Biden that you're not going to believe.
Okay. According to
you might believe it, actually.
According to the Washington, he walks around naked too in front of his kids.
Well, we know that already. He's shouting.
The Ashley Biden diary talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
The Washington Post is reporting that a principal was fired after parents complained that Michelangelo's work was too pornographic for sixth graders. The David, and that's what started that. I'll tell you.
Why would they fire the principal because something a teacher did like that? That's a little
They
extreme.
Probably supported bringing it in. The thing about it is, okay, yeah, there's nudity, okay? And
it's a picture they looked at, I'm assuming. They don't actually have this statue from Florence.
No.
I mean, it's a picture.
It's not it's a picture, a replica, or something.
Probably a picture.
If there's nudity in it of any kind, even if it's art, it doesn't belong among sixth graders. There's a lot of art where people are not nude, and you could cover up the nude part in the picture.
Was this an art class, or what class was this where they would bring up?
It was very vague. It didn't say.
Well, I think sixth grade is too small, too little for that. I've seen David in person. It is a gorgeous statue. It's probably the most beautiful piece of art you could ever look at, but it is a fully male nude, and it's huge. Every part of him is pretty right in your face.
Yeah.
It's no denying it. And the pictures, it's his privates front and center.
Yeah. It should not be in school. I'm
not at that age. No, I agree. But I don't think the principal should be fired over it. That's a bit extreme. Come on.
When I was in 5th or 6th grade, I can't remember which it was, but I remember this clearly. They showed us the teachers from multiple classrooms got different classes together. We went to the library, and they showed us a documentary on these new panda bears in China.
Yeah.
And it was, I guess it was a big deal at the time. This is the early 80s. And then the scene came on where they were breeding the pandas. Oh, my goodness. These teachers ran for that television set like I've never seen women run before to not show the breeding of the pandas. There's
now they would let it play.
I don't know.
Well, when I was teaching, I played this movie for 7th graders. It was in our school library. So I thought it was okay. It was the Holocaust movie with Kirsten Dunst, Devil's Arithmetic.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be good because we were doing Holocaust month. So I thought, okay, I'll grab this and we'll play this so people can, kids can watch it. And this is 7th grade, and this was in the library, so I thought it was cool. And I'm playing it, and they show the shower scene, and it's full frontal, women and boobs and all.
Oh, my goodness.
I ran to that television, turned it off, and the kids started snickering, and I'm like, I am sorry. I had no idea. And I went and told the librarian she should remove this from the library. Yeah. And she was a nice lady. I said, there's full frontal nudity in this of women. And I said, that's just
nudity, even if it's art, doesn't belong in school. I told you
not at that age. I think college, they have, when you take art classes in college, they have nude models.
But this,
but you're adults. It's different. You're not, it's 11 and 12-year-olds. It's a bit much.
This woman on The View who's walking around naked in front of her kids, that's a problem. That's just not right.
I agree. She should be wearing a bathrobe. I mean, that's just inappropriate. She's a little too comfortable, and I have a feeling she is going to get a lot of comments on her social media about this.
That show has two things: apologies, and then saying something that makes them apologize the next day.
Okay, so this just happened. This is nuts. I retweeted it. I don't know if you want to play it. There's a graphic. It was on Fox. There's a graphic. It says Fox News, breaking news, soon Nashville police update on shooting. And this is what happens with Biden as he walks in the room. Listen.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? Huh?
That's the leader of our country while there's a graphic of a school shooting.
Well, so actually...
This guy belongs in a freaking nursing home.
Actually, what happened with that is that's when he came down to address the shooting. It wasn't just the graphic on the screen. He came down to comment on the tragic shooting.
Does he even know what the hell is going on? Well, and he's talking about ice cream. That's all over Twitter right now.
You say that, but Obama did the same thing. There was, I think, this was the Fort Hood shooting. I might be wrong about the shooting. Sadly, there's so many shootings, it's hard to keep.
This is all over the internet now. It's going viral.
After one of the mass shootings when Obama was president, and I'm pretty sure it was Fort Hood, Obama was speaking somewhere, and he was speaking to a group of Native Americans, and he came out laughing just like that, telling jokes and talking about Chief so-and-so and doing shout-outs and things before he did the comment on the shooting. And it was in very bad taste. This here with Biden.
It says here, Fox News, Benny Johnson just tweeted this. Fox News cuts to Joe Biden because they were told he would address the school shooting that just happened off at the top of the hour, only to find him joking about ice cream and good-looking kids in the crowd.
Yeah.
That's just Joe.
That's typical to
That's just
to
Joe.
Biden.
He's just an a-hole. God.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, this guy's obsessed with ice cream.
Well, the thing with Biden is he's so far gone.
He is.
And he's lost his ability to know what is appropriate and inappropriate at any given time.
I agree with you
and
on
he
that.
just can't tell.
No. I mean, come on, people.
And that laughter from the crowd, that's nervous laughter.
I don't think so. These are sycophants.
I don't know.
No. That laughter was genuine.
There's just a bit of mass shooting.
These are sycophant. They think he could defecate on the floor and they would applaud. I mean, these are people that think whatever he does is wonderful.
You know, I want you to put this in
perspective. This is a sick world.
I want you to put this in perspective. Okay? There's a mass shooting. As of now, 7 have lost their lives, 3 of them children. Very sad thing.
That is sad.
And Biden's coming down telling jokes about ice cream. Remember the outrage the media had when Trump asked for a second scoop of ice cream?
And that wasn't even on television. That was like in a private dinner.
And it wasn't during.
And we don't even know if that was even true.
And there wasn't even a tragedy going on. He just asked for a second scoop. They spent a week talking about that. You know, here you've got dead teachers and babies, and Biden's up there doing stand-up about ice cream.
And he knew that there was a shooting because he was coming down to talk about it. So did he forget? Or he's just that insensitive or just that stupid? I mean, take your pick.
The ice cream is the high point of his day.
It is absolute. That's exactly right. It is the high point of his day.
Mommy gives him a treat.
That's right. He has a freezer full of it. He's obsessed with ice cream. He thinks that makes him look good. Wow, you like ice cream. How different in this country. I mean, doesn't everybody?
Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you're a Patreon supporter, yesterday, Kathy and I uploaded on the Patreon page a Patreon-only podcast episode. And Kathy and I do on occasion have special podcast episodes just for Patreon supporters. We did one yesterday and uploaded it and made it available to all Patreon supporters on our Patreon page. And Patreon supporters also have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, and Arctic Fox. These are our top Patreon supporters. And guys, don't forget, go check out that Patreon exclusive podcast episode. If you would like to support the show by becoming a patron, there's a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And there's also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. All right, guys, that's it for us today. But thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll talk to you next time.
Are you looking for high-quality digital products to enhance your daily life? Look no further than digitalcobyaya.etsy.com. That's YAHYA. Digital Co by Yaya specialize in a wide range of digital products that are perfect for any occasion, from stunning abstract art to practical planners and business card templates. They have everything you need to make your day-to-day life more beautiful and organized. Planning a special occasion? Digital Co by Yaya have you covered with a collection of birthday invitations that's sure to impress. With a variety of eye-catching designs to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect invite to make your celebration one to remember. Shopping at digitalcobyaya.etsy.com is easy and convenient. Simply browse their collection, add your favorite products to your cart, and check out. That's it. Plus, all of their digital products are available for instant download, so you can start enjoying them right away. Don't wait. Visit digitalcobyaya.etsy.com. It's YAHYA. Explore their collection of digital products and add a little beauty and organization to your everyday life. digitalcobyaya.etsy.com.